Ashley.
Yes.
I know a little insider information. I know where the cast and crew of the Immortal Universe for AMC and Talamasca, The Secret Order, derived their image of Eric Bogosian's character Daniel Malloy for his headshot on his book tour. I absolutely know where they got the image.
Where?
It's from his role in the movie Dolores Claiborne, the Stephen King adaptation.
Shut up.
He plays Jennifer Jason Leigh's editor in the movie. And he's sleeping with her in the film. Spoiler alert. This is not a character that appears in the book at all. The book is very different. The book is like a one-woman monologue, basically,
Right.
where Dolores tells her life story. But the movie is pretty cool. It goes back and forth with the mom and daughter. And Eric's got a small role in it. He plays this editor. But that is exactly the age that he was.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
When they're showing him in these on the book jackets and everything. I thought that was kind of funny.
I love it.
Yeah. There you go. Go see you some young Eric Bogosian.
Hey,
listen, he had that salt and pepper hair thing even in the 90s.
I swear to God, that man has looked. He's like, it's kind of like how Steve Martin has always looked like 60.
He looked old when he was 20, but like a sexy old.
Yeah.
And then he just never got any older.
No.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it is really weird.
Yeah.
Bogosian's got that kind of vibe for me. The first thing I ever knew of him in was like a one-man show that was like on, it was like I think it might have been off Broadway or something, but they did a version of it for HBO. I can't remember what it was. I need to look that up.
I have not. Here's what I'll say about him. He's not an actor that I have noticed in the past. I think if I go back and watch films like Dolores Claiborne, I'll see him in a bunch of things over the years that have enjoyed him in. I just didn't really have a file for him yet. And isn't that the Ringer podcast calls that the That Guy Award?
I love
everybody's a that guy until they're not a that guy. Like Joey Pants. Joey Pantalone was a that guy, and he was in every movie, and you didn't really know he's the guy, he's that guy. And then suddenly, I don't know, about The Matrix, maybe when he was on The Sopranos, somewhere in there, all of a sudden he's Joey Pants.
He's Joey Pants.
And ever since, you know exactly who he is. We're not talking about gangster movies though, y'all. We're not even talking about Dolores Claiborne, although I'll be happy to. It's a really good book. Instead,
what are we talking about?
We're talking about a new TV show,
what?
Ashley.
I'm so excited.
Welcome to the Articulate Coven, the original, unofficial fan podcast and community for Anne Rice's Immortal Universe, The Vampire Chronicles, Lives of the Mayfair Witches, and the Immortal Universe TV series from AMC and AMC+. The Articulate Coven is Ashley and Joel, but it's supported by listeners just like you. Find out more at articulatecoven.com/join. It feels like the first time. Feels like the very first time. It's been so long since we've had a TV show to talk about.
I know, I'm so excited. And we're going to just hope this one doesn't do us dirty. Don't do us dirty.
Y'all, I go back and I listen to our first episodes on Mayfair, or even our first episodes of the second season of Mayfair.
We were so hopeful.
We were so hopeful. And I hope we don't sound like that with this one. But right now, as we sit here after episode 1, Talamasca, The Secret Order, I'm very hopeful.
I'm very excited. I'm more than hopeful.
I'm very hopeful.
Pumped. This is exactly what I wanted this to be so far.
The only way they could have made it better for me, honestly, is if they had given us an elder or an older leader of the Talamasca that comes from the books.
Yeah.
An Aaron Leitner, a David Talbot, or something.
Well, yes.
I understand, though. I think I understand why they haven't. This story that they want to tell to get us into this organization and to make for an interesting TV show doesn't have to do directly with the stories that those characters play out. And in particular, David's story ties in so closely with the stats. I think if you made him part of this, then this has to all be very central to the universe. And I think our big crossover event is going to come in the main series. It's going to come in interview, Vampire Lestat, Queen of the Damned, whatever they call it when they get there. That's when everything's going to come to a head, and we're going to have real crossover Avenger type shit.
Yeah, they've got to get us into this world and get us interested in this world. And and they have more work to do because Mayfair didn't do what it should have done with the Talamasca.
No.
And since they didn't do their job, this show has to come in and really, really land the plane, you know?
I know there are those of us in the audience that are withholding their belief in this possibility of a good series coming. So we're going to try to do a little bit more recapping with Talamasca, at least for the first few episodes than we normally do. We start in East London, Ashley.
Hey,
we meet a young agent.
Did we tell them who we are?
No, you're right. This is Articulate Coven. We are the Articulate Coven, and we're your hosts. I'm Joel.
I'm Ashley. I just like to say my name out loud.
And we are the Articulate Coven. Everybody likes to hear their name, Ashley. Ashley.
Thank you, Joel.
You're welcome, Ashley.
Thank you, Joel.
We're here to talk about Talamasca, The Secret Order. It's a brand new series from the Immortal Universe. And y'all, in the press leading up to this, we've gotten a couple of hints that it's not the end of the Immortal Universe either. Mark Johnson was specifically quoted as saying he's got a Night Island series still in the works.
Yeah, I thought that got shelved.
Okay, it did get shelved. At one point, they were going to be a series of like mini-sodes, basically, in between seasons. That got shelved and pushed off. My guess is that now we will be introduced to Night Island in the main series, and then we will see a spinoff of some sort that comes later, whether that's a mini-series or mini-sodes or an actual ongoing, who knows. But the other thing that was mentioned that's kind of mind-blowing, Memnoch the Devil was specifically called out as a cosmic adventure.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I mean, good, but that's interesting that you would call that out separately as I guess it would need here's my one concern about that being called out in that way, Ashley. What if they made Lestat not the main character of that story?
Oh, I would not enjoy that.
What if we had? I wouldn't either. But you could imagine how you could do that, right? You could still have the God and the devil and this whole thing, and do you want to join the ongoing battle?
That you could do that, but I would not think that would be a good move.
I hope that they don't.
I don't think that
one concern, the way that it was mentioned,
would be as engaging at all if Lestat is not at the center of it. It wouldn't happen the way it happens if Lestat's not at the center of it.
I don't want to poo-poo anybody's favorite thing, but those two Angel Time books exist, the Songs of the Seraphim or whatever by Anne Rice, and they didn't sell nearly as well as Memnoch did. So be careful, Mr. Mark Johnson. But here we have an expansion of an organization in the books that appears in the Mayfair series, that appears in the Vampire Chronicles, and yet never got their own series, never got their own book at all. And she wrote a bunch of them, folks. I'm so excited for what this can be. I'm so excited for even what this first episode sort of pretends.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Let's talk about this thing.
Let's do it. Let's break it down.
So we meet a young agent. The opening scene, I think, sort of like sets the stage. This is going to be, and we heard this leading up to it, this is a spy series.
It feels very 24, like that's like the vibe I got right out of the gate, and I loved that show. I was really...
Or even... it's like a supernatural homeland almost,
Well, even a little bit of an X-Files vibe too, like on the investigative side of things and stuff. So the vibes I'm picking up are like vibes I get from shows I really like. So that kind of excites me.
So this young agent that we meet at the opening, she's collected info. We watch her put it on a thumb drive. The code name is Chrysalis. First of all, I have some questions about the Talamasca filing system. So she goes to a Dewey Decimal, like a card catalog. She pulls the card. Everything's redacted except the word Chrysalis on it. And then she just types in the word Chrysalis, and then she gets the files. I'm not sure exactly what they're trying to show us here, other than she's getting a MacGuffin.
Were there other things in this card catalog? Was that the only thing in the drawer?
But she puts her info together. Chrysalis is the code name that we're thinking of here. She's being followed by some secretive dark figures. We're getting a very growing, ooh, what's happening here? Who's after her?
Danger vibe.
She starts to make a drop of the info. Somebody's too close on her tail, and she goes off and doesn't actually put it where she's supposed to put it, where she's signaled that she's going to put it. She puts up an X to signal that she's going to make a drop. So she hides it. And that's our MacGuffin. It's like, how many episodes are we going to go before somebody finds the drop? Right. She puts it in a, looks like maybe a playground that she was climbing under, or just a piece of sculpture. I'm not sure. There's a really cool moment here, though, that I wanted to call out. She is trying to get away from these figures that are chasing her. She's taking a breather behind a train when the train suddenly pulls away.
It's such a great shot.
And then, boom, she's surrounded by monsters. Now, what are these monsters, Ashley?
I'm not really sure, Joel. What are these monsters?
So okay. They sound like zombies to me, right?
Do.
They're sort of like a general grunting and growling.
Right, but we've been told...
They seem to be kind of mindless.
Yeah. They seem to be kind of, like sort of like those, some of the vampires that Louis and Claudia ran into is kind of what I thought, like those guys.
Okay, in the book, they specifically call them vampire revenants. Now, in season 2 of Interview with a Vampire, we meet one of these creatures and its maker, an old queen of a vampire, so to speak,
yes,
that's kind of gone mad. That vampire seems to have... We don't get any explanation exactly from why. They talk about weak blood in those scenes, and that's all we really get in the TV series. I do wonder if that's what we're supposed to take away from this, particularly since later in the episode we hear specifically that zombies don't exist.
Right. They do tell us straight up zombies don't exist, which is why I adjusted my thoughts about it to start with. Because at first I was like, well, some zombies now? And then I was like, God damn you, AMC, you'll put a zombie in anything.
Right. Here's one thing. I do think it is unlikely that we get actual zombies in this universe, because AMC would then have to deal with people going, is this a Walking Dead spinoff? And are those universes connected?
Oh, God.
And they're like, no, I literally pay different people for those things. Right. So please don't confuse me and cause me legal problems.
God.
Like, please don't do that.
Please.
Don't say that on TikTok,
People will get litigious.
So we get our first glimpse of Jasper, who seems like is going to be our primary antagonist.
He's
William Fichtner.
We'll see. And here's the thing. He's definitely being set up as a baddie. But is the baddie who we think the baddie is? Who knows yet?
I mean, and that is the beauty of a spy story, right? Is that even when you're, especially like in this, Guy Anatoly, our main character, is sort of playing the role of, he's Robert Redford in 3 Days of the Condor. He just shows back up to the office, and then suddenly the world has turned upside down around him, and now he's caught up in this bigger thing, and it's like, who's telling me the truth, and who do I believe, and who can I trust? It's an interesting way to frame a series, particularly since, even as book readers who would have this idea that, well, the Talamasca is a good agency, of course you can trust them. In this universe, we've shown they're fucked up and crooked on a regular basis.
Right. And even in the books, there's some questionable shit. Come on.
There are groups.
Yeah.
Well, and even David Talbot, who is generally a figure that we all love, like Professor X, he's got a deep, dark past that we find out about eventually, and lots of shady shit he's done since he's been in power, right? So, good theme song, I think. Pretty decent intro to the show. It's not as iconic, nothing as iconic as the orchestra warm-up and the closing teeth of the Interview with the Vampire intro.
Or even the kind of that layered sort of messaging that we hoped there would be from Mayfair. It was such a mislead.
Boy, well, okay. There's a lot of imagery in this one too, but I will admit, personally, I didn't deep dive into any of it for this episode, at least, because I think to myself, we looked at all of that stuff and wondered, does any of this mean anything for Mayfair? And it didn't. None of it meant anything.
No.
We'll keep our fingers crossed that we've missed something wonderful, and we'll discover it in episode 3 or 4.
Well, here's the other cool thing about it, though, is that there's nothing that they can do to like really piss us off. It's not like they can fuck this up
They've lowered the bar significantly.
Well, and we have no expectations of what this is going to be. We have no
Yeah.
we have no right to have any sort of like, well, I think the story should be this. We're not the ones writing the story, you know, like they're creating this. So we get to just ride along and enjoy and see how somebody else plays in her sandbox. You know what I mean? And that's kind of cool to see somebody else besides Christopher do it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I missed the ending of our cold open. Olive being chased by these vampires. She's surrounded because Fichtner's character Jasper seems to set them on her in some way, and she jumps in front of a train to avoid the fate that she's about to meet in their hands.
I mean,
pretty final, but again, really sets you up to think Jasper must be a son
really
of a bitch.
Bad,
if she's,
or like also these fucking monsters are going to tear her to pieces.
Right. Better to be. I mean, this
go out quick
sort of thing. It's the sort of thing they'll say in a Western, right? Like the natives are coming in to destroy the settlement, and they'll hand a pistol to the ladies and say, "There's 4 shots in there, one for each of you," you know, kind of thing. Yeah, it's that sort of moment for her. But Olive is smushed, as it were. Okay, we move to New York now, and we meet an older agent named Helen, played by Elizabeth McGovern, going to be again our seeming David Talbot figure, our Aaron Leitner, our leader of the Talamasca in some capacity, at least. She seems to have a lot of authority in New York, the very least.
And she seems to be like a calm, rational kind of person, you know, which also makes me very suspicious of her.
She's got such an air about her. There's a line read at one point that she gives to Guy, and I can't remember what the line is, but I paused. I was rewatching the show today, and I paused it and just I gave the line read to my wife, and I said, "Man, I watched the 70s, 80s King Kong with not Kurt Russell, Jeff Bridges, and what's her name? I want to say Sophia Loren. God, who's the woman from American Horror Story? Jessica Lange.
Jessica Lange. Yep.
Okay. Jessica Lange's in King Kong. I'd seen that when I was a kid, but I didn't have a file for Jessica Lange yet, right? So to me, I discovered Jessica Lange really for the first time in that 3rd season of American Horror Story, which is where I finally came on.
Oh, wow.
And then I went back and watched the first 2, and you know, I watched a couple of seasons after that before I gave up on it. But that 3rd season was it was like, who is this actress and where has she been all my life? And what a wealth of talent that I get to. Yeah, she's been all over the place. I just hadn't really noticed her. I feel that way about Elizabeth McGovern right now, honestly. Well, I don't know her. I don't know her work. She's so cool in this role, though.
I have not gotten on the Downton Abbey train, and that's what she's been doing the most lately, apparently. I remember her.
Well, they keep making movies,
right?
They got a new movie in theaters like now, actually, or maybe it's just gone.
They just did they just had a red carpet for something the other day. She looked amazing at it. No, I remember her from a couple of like 80s movies. Like she's having a baby or something. Like what? Like that's what I remember her from. Is like
she is currently doing a stage version where she's playing Ava Gardner. It's like the life of Ava Gardner or something, and she's Ava in it. Yeah, really interesting. Anyway, she's got an air about her. At one point later in the episode, Guy's adopted mother refers to her and says she was just, I think she says the word fancy, but there is something about the way that she's presented here that is really cool.
A gravitas to her and just like a coolness.
A regality, I guess is what I'm looking for, right? Like, it's an air of superiority that you don't mind.
Right. Well, it's like reassuring. It's not like smug. It's like I know, I really do know more than you do. It's kind of like, she's having a baby with Kevin Bacon.
Yes, I've seen that. I don't remember it.
You
though,
didn't
really.
have a file for her yet, Joel.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Probably for Kevin Bacon yet.
I might not have had one for Kevin Bacon at the time. No, I probably did because I had seen Tremors before I saw she's having a baby. I'd be willing to bet money.
Oh, I love Tremors.
So I did have a file for Kevin Bacon. I love the way these characters are introduced, though. She's been introduced in a very interesting way. Jasper has been given this like air of lethality and authority. And now we meet Guy. And the way we're introduced to Guy is so appealing. First of all, little anxious Nelly, isn't he? Just sitting there all up in his head the whole time?
Yeah.
Out of place?
Just normal Guy. Like, his name is Guy because he's a guy.
Right? Like, he's out of his depth. Right? He's out of his depth money-wise. He's out of his depth class-wise. He doesn't have the connections that these people do. He didn't even go to the right school exactly, no matter how smart he is. And yet he's still here showing up and trying to do the thing, doing his best. Fails pretty horribly at the interview. And then we get a glimpse of something going on for Guy. Okay, little behind the scenes. Ashley and I are watching screener versions of this show. And when we're recording this, we haven't seen the final versions.
Right.
It is possible that what we're hearing is not the final effect for Guy's powers. I think there were a couple of moments in Mayfair season 2 specifically that we had slightly different effects or slightly different audio, especially, right? I wonder if that's the case here. It is interesting to me, though, because in this episode, the vast majority of the time when we hear it, it is very unfocused and almost, it's just noise, right? It's just a problem.
Yeah.
And only a couple of times, especially later once we meet Burton, it's clear enough that it's any use for Guy.
Right.
And I wonder, first of all, if we're getting the final version, but if we are, is that all purposeful to show us that he's like raw, untapped talent,
right? He's like, he's starting to gain some command over it as he's, learning about it more. Or
it seems like it's a pile of talent waiting to be tapped there.
100%. I mean, they clearly want him to work for them, and they don't want you to work for them unless you've got something going on. They have enough people probably coming to them saying, I'm psychic, I'd like to be a psychic spy, like, not unlike when we talked about Teen Witch. I was like, I'm probably going to be a witch when I'm 16. So I'd like to be a psychic spy. Thank you. So the fact that they're pursuing him so hard and intensely, I think is, I mean, it's a dead giveaway that he's got something cooking in his brain.
So Guy is heavily medicated, misunderstood, tragical backstory. He's basically every Anne Rice protagonist in the modern day. And other than the heavily medicated, he's every Anne Rice protagonist.
Yes, he just found, drugs.
Nobody likes killing parents more than Anne Rice and Walt Disney, right?
Oh, my God.
They love an orphan story,
Buckle
don't they?
up. Fucking.
He's got a great line before he leaves the interview, though. He starts to leave and then he turns back around and he makes his pitch. And he says, maybe, just maybe, right now, I am the finest legal mind money can buy. I'm not going to be at your parties and I'm not going to join your social clubs because let's face it, I wouldn't fit in. I'm going to be here working for you, making you money and making you money and making you money. And you can watch the dollar signs roll in their eyes. And they're all on board for this guy. He's got this job at this law firm if he wants it. But something else is going to come his way, Ashley.
Ooh. An offer he can't refuse, perhaps.
We hear here the specifics of the tragic backstory, by the way. My dad skipped town before I was born. It's a little Anakin Skywalker coded to me. Maybe daddy matters in the end of things, actually. Secondly, my mom was a junkie who overdosed on heroin when I was 9. Worst day of my life. Boy, that's pretty tragic. That's a terrible way to start. I want to know, though, Ashley, we get a little flashback here as he's in the bathroom trying to recuperate. We see him as a child in a church. He is trying to drown out the confession that he's hearing.
Yeah.
And a woman walks by, takes his hands off his ears and says, it's a gift, not a curse. Now, it's not the accent for Helen, for our Elizabeth McGovern character. So who is this woman that reached out? Is this the counselor that we hear about later that turned the Talamasca onto him?
I mean,
I don't know. Is this going to come back up? Is that mom? That's what I wonder. Is that supposed to be mom? Maybe. I don't know.
I bet we find out.
I think we might. You mentioned a douchebag. Well, actually, you mentioned a douchebag previously in our video about San Diego Comic-Con, I think. But I'm going to mention a douchebag here. This young male partner for Cavett, the law firm, is a real
Oh,
corporate
real
bullshit
D-bag.
motherfucker,
Yeah,
isn't he?
yeah.
Yeah. Don't even worry about it, bro. I got you. I'm like, I don't want to work
Get
with
your
you.
finger guns out,
Actually,
bruh. Yeah, no. Nobody wants to work here. That's the thing.
so Helen confronts him as he comes out, or well, he confronts Helen. Helen's following him, and he cuts her off and says, "Hey, what do you want,
Yeah.
lady?" Um, he says, "I got a job. I don't need yours." She goes, "Well, you know." He goes, "Do you know what they're going to pay me?" She goes, "I don't know. A lot. We can match it if money is so very important to you."
Yep.
I like the way she just tosses that off.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that she's a little serious too, because she says, "I'm gonna give you $5,000
Just to talk.
just to listen to
Yeah,
me,
just to hang out for a second.
just to listen to me." We mentioned that he's not in the same financial class as these folks at the law firm. He's broke.
Yeah.
Actually, he's 3 months behind on his rent.
And in New York, that's a lot of money.
I've never lived in New York, but I don't know any landlord that I've ever had that would let me float 3 months.
Oh.
Eviction notice goes up on the 15th. I feel like.
I mean, I've never been 3 months behind on my rent, and I've been quite poor.
Tomorrow's the 10th already. Just slide the rent under my door. So this guy tells him, he's like, "Look, I'm glad you got a job. That's great. Give me my money on Friday."
Or you
okay. Yeah.
So this $5,000 to listen to this woman talk for a little while is going to be pretty useful.
Suddenly, that business card is looking pretty good. So he's going to go in. He's going to go in for the interview. When we were covering Mayfair, especially early on, Ashley, we said if Mayfair did nothing else right, it got that house right.
Yes, it did.
The house on First Street
is beautiful.
Is exactly what we imagined
aside
from
the
books.
Fucking basement.
Good call. Very good call. Here's what Talamasca gets right if they get nothing else right. This library hall where he meets Elizabeth McGovern's character, it's just perfect.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I imagined. Now, this is not a big mother house,
No.
right? This is like a secret location. There's a couple of apartments upstairs. It's hidden entrance, et cetera, et cetera. We haven't seen the splendor that is the mother house, but the way the Talamasca houses themselves.
Yes, is much more like this
and
much less like what we saw in Mayfair. That,
yeah,
you know,
honestly.
like the New Orleans crew is not living and existing in the same world as these Talamasca people are. Just very.
I will say the guy that's marking the fake front before you have to go into the actual library looks like the cousin of that blind lady that worked in New Orleans for sure.
She did. Yeah. She was the only vibe that was right, actually.
They're dressed very similarly. Is my point.
Yeah,
they got an outfit.
That was the only vibe that was correct. Actually, was her.
They all look like Roz working the cleaning crew, I guess, in Monsters University. It's like very unassuming.
Right.
You don't want to be around me.
Right.
Have you filed your paperwork? So he immediately says, "Hey, you got that money?" And she's like, "You don't trust me?" He says, "Should I?" And she says, "Perhaps not." And I thought that was interesting. She does it again later. He is displaying his doubt about this whole thing, and she basically tells him, "I don't blame you if you want to walk away. Maybe you even should." It's interesting to me because we get glimpses that maybe Helen gives a damn about him.
Well, and she's giving him a choice.
She needs a tool, right? She needs him to go to England because she wants somebody to follow Jasper or to keep Talamasca eyes on whatever this situation in 752 is that we're building toward. But it seems like she has actually invested in this kid too.
I mean, I definitely, there's a softness to her with him, but I think it might be more about giving him a choice. You don't have to do this, but you should do this, and in that way kind of disarming him and making him feel less like she's putting pressure on him, more like you can choose to do this.
So what do we know about the Immortal Universe's version of the Talamasca? Here, well, this is assuming that Helen's telling him the truth, but here's what we believe. A private organization that's been around a long time, a very long time. We don't operate for profit, but we're extremely well funded. New York, London, Paris, Rome, Amsterdam, Hong Kong, and New Orleans are our mother houses. That's where we've got our headquarters set up. And we know already from Mayfair that Amsterdam, and it's sort of hinted at in this episode as well, Amsterdam seems to be the central location.
Right.
That's the head of the snake, so to speak. I guess I knew this from the other novels, Ashley, but I had forgotten it. Talamasca means in Latin animal mask.
Yeah, no, I didn't remember that.
Okay, here's a little nugget. And we've hinted at this in previous episodes of the show before. There is a secret about the founding of the Talamasca that comes out eventually in the novels. And animal mask says a thing to me. So put a bee in your bonnet about that one. And let's
put a pin in it.
Let's return to that. Yeah. Guy makes fun of it though. He says, "Who's in charge of branding?"
Hilarious.
Helen makes an interesting statement. You believe that the world is or ought to be innately good. She's talking to Guy about his belief in fairness and the way that he runs his life. And she really seems to have this outlook herself. And I do think that is sort of what the Talamasca is about. They are, effectively a secular church.
Well, I think that it comes down to what it's supposed to be versus what it actually is. Like that is going to, and I think that that's going to be a big question mark for us throughout the series and it may not be like a long-term kind of storyline, but I think it definitely has to be like a big question mark because Guy's going to have that question and
Ashley, maybe if you give someone unlimited power and unlimited money,
they become assholes.
Perhaps even their good intentions can go awry. Imagine that. Imagine no good billionaires. Look at that.
How does that happen? Because people are greedy fuckers. Yeah. So on the paper, Talamasca sounds like a really great organization, and it sounds like they're doing good work and are doing work that needs to be done to keep humanity safe. And they get to feel all smug and wonderful about it. But there's also clearly going to be some asshole up above 3 people pulling the strings that does not have good intentions. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a whole series.
Indeed. Here's my biggest beef with this episode. Guy, I'm just going to talk straight to you. When you're broke, when you are really flat broke, I've been there a few times myself, brother. When you get that windfall, you got to pay them bills
pay that
first,
rent
baby.
First. You pay the rent
you gotta
first.
Go pay that. You're 3 months behind on rent. You got $5,000 in cash. You're not going to pay your fucking rent?
Pay your rent first. It's a generational thing, Joel. He's just going to buy a plane ticket.
That damn avocado toast, Ashley. He could have bought a mortgage.
Oh, you could have bought a mortgage for that avocado toast. Jesus.
Okay, so he's gotten this letter to Santa from him when he was a child.
Yes.
It's in with the money from the Talamasca. And so he Googles them a little bit and he's thinking about it, and then he just buys that plane ticket to Florida. Sometimes you got to fly to Sarasota, Ashley. Sometimes
I've had to fly to Florida.
I've never flown to Sarasota. There is a place in Florida that I do like to get away to sometimes.
I have not flown to Sarasota.
So he's going down there to see his mom, his adopted mother. This is the woman that fostered him. It comes out pretty quickly. She's nervous as hell and being cagey. And then when confronted with the letter, it all falls apart. He was placed with her by the Talamasca. They paid for everything in his life. They've paid for her condo now in Florida. They paid for his scholarship. He mentions it in the interview earlier. How much of your school did your scholarship pay for? All of it. The Talamasca paid for his school.
Yeah.
They have provided him everything.
He gets to second guess every one of his accomplishments he's ever made in his life. Super fun.
Well, and when he confronts Helen about it, he's like, so nothing I did meant anything. She's like, you earned everything you did. We guided your choices. We guided your choices a bit to help you reach your potential so that you could use your abilities for the good that we think that you're capable of doing. And that's a good story to sell yourself
Right.
for the person that has been controlled.
Yeah.
You know, I love one of my favorite moments in Godfather is it's at the end of Godfather 2, I believe, where there's it's for Vito's birthday, but all the kids are around the table. It's like a flashback scene, and Michael is explaining to the family that he's joined the Marines that day. He's going to go fight in World War II because of Pearl Harbor. And Tom Hagen, his adopted brother, says, Michael, your father has plans for your future. Your father and I have talked about it many times. And Michael confronts him. He goes, you? My father talked to you about my future? That's this anger right here that Guy has, right? He's like,
they've been Truman showing
for
him.
Me.
They've Truman showed him.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just like to feel like your entire existence has been manipulated. Like nothing about, like, are you even who you thought you were now? You know, like, what the fuck? That would be a really big mind fuck.
We get a little glimpse into the Talamasca office, and an analyst of some sort brings a message that Archie is on the move. We get a glimpse of this guy. The implication seems to be this is a button man of some sort. This is somebody who pulls triggers. This is somebody who kills people. Feels like. Yeah, I don't know.
He's guessing
we're going to see more of him, though, in the future. He's on the move. And then we also hear 752 is real, and it's in London. And then immediately we cut to Jasper. Jasper is not alone. There's someone else at the other end of the hallway. They've got locked off like prison cells, it looks like, full of these creatures, revenants, zombies, what are they? I don't know.
Whatever they are.
Okay. Why is Jasper controlling them? This is a dog clicker, right? This is a thing you do for dogs?
That's what it seems like, yeah. Are they werewolves?
Is that what the little...
What the fuck?
I don't know, man.
The little training clicker?
But that's what it's for, right? You do the click for dogs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know. I don't know what this is about. This is very interesting. But here's my thing. Because there is no book that they are running away from here.
Right.
I'm sort of fine with what they're building to.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know. What the fuck? We don't have any reason to expect it to be anything, you know?
It's going to have to be really dumb for me to not like it, honestly, if I'm being frank here.
Yeah. Especially if they're just going to stay clear of like fucking with, you know, most of the time not fucking with our interview world, you know?
Do you know what vampires in this universe really like, Ashley?
What?
They like penthouses.
And the demons like milk, and the vampires like a penthouse.
So we go to the Dakota. It's funny because I think most people, when they think of the Dakota, they think of John Lennon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he
got murdered right in front of it.
Obviously, got murdered. But also, I don't know about you. I think of the last 5 years, the Broadway play, the musical. No, that one's John Lennon. There.
No, that is not. Oh my God.
That's the Dakota. Anyway, so here we are at the Dakota, and we're going up to the penthouse, which I love. I love. He asks, how did a vampire get cleared for a penthouse apartment at the Dakota? And Helen goes, well, I vouched for him. Yoko put in a good word.
Yeah,
it didn't hurt.
It's fine. He's got friends.
Okay, so here's what we hear. The Talamasca, what do we know about the Talamasca? Very old agency, very well funded, not for profit. They follow and track and monitor immortals. Vampires, witches, ghosts, demons. And Guy says, what? No zombies? Oh, no such thing. You watch too much telly. Again, I think that is literally just an IP thing, honestly. There aren't zombies in this universe for the books, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't have put them in if they didn't want to.
And I'm really glad. Let's not. I like zombies. I love zombies, but I don't want zombies with my vampires right now.
No, this world is magical, and zombies never feel magical.
They're messy.
I know sometimes they're voodoo, but I think they're better as like a biological agent, or it's aliens or whatever. I don't want it to be magical. These folks are magical. All right. we meet Burton. Burton is expecting you. First of all, he's got a wonderful little, I don't know, butler, I guess, here. She's delightful.
Yes.
I also noticed, and I didn't notice this the first time I watched, but the second time I did, Burton's got an Elvis-style multi-TV wall with like stock tickers.
I did not notice that.
News stations. He's got one that's turned vertical that looks like it's like a TikTok feed or something, maybe, genuinely.
I love it.
So it's interesting that he is, and one of the things that we know from the novels is that the vampires find it hard sometimes to ingratiate themselves into the different time frames, right? They come from a time in human history, and it is hard for them to move on throughout the centuries. So Burton here is just
embracing
fucking
it.
enmeshing it.
I love it.
Yeah, he's like,
well,
give it to me.
Some of them thrive though too. Like some of them are like find the new technology and are like, oh, look, fuck, even Maharet was sending emails for Christ's sake. So I mean, they some of them will get into it big time. And can you imagine, like, if I'm a vampire, I could just sit and watch so many different things at the same time. It's like fucking your doom scrolling could be like,
Guy asks Burton like why he's doing that. What does he need from the Talamasca? Why is he doing this? And I think to myself, it would be pretty nice to have a whole fucking spy agency protecting my existence, right? Like he probably doesn't have to hunt.
No.
He damn sure doesn't have to hide any bodies. And as long as he's well behaved, and does a favor for them every now and again, what do they do for him? They bring him his former jewelry. Ashley, I love this idea. He says, I haven't worn this in hundreds of years. I haven't worn this in centuries. Where did you find it?
I love it. Thank you.
I love the idea that she's bribing Burton. Mm-hmm. She's paying off Burton by returning his things.
Shit.
Effectively.
Get my shit back.
It's like, I really like that.
Yeah.
The word interview is mentioned.
I like this character.
I do too. I know you're not a big fan of Schwartzman. Well, as a rule.
I say I'm kind of hot and cold with him, and there's a certain type of character he plays that I just cannot tolerate. I just find him very annoying. But I really like this guy. I was like immediately interested. I was not annoyed or off put by him, so I was very excited.
I think he super well fits into a world in which Jacob Anderson's Louis and Sam Reed's Lestat and Assad's Armand exist.
Yeah.
He's got his own personality, obviously, right? But the way that he carries himself and the way that he interacts with humans is very congruous, I feel like, to the vampires we've met so far.
100%. And that's the reason why he doesn't feel off as a character. It's not the reason why, like, even though it's kind of like what, we did that variety video and Sam was talking about, they're doing such extraordinarily weird things, and like they're saying really strange things. And so it's really important to kind of keep everything to like have a solid like base of reality to stay in, even though everything around you is absurd, you have to commit to the reality of it, and he definitely does and feels just right,
Yeah, he absolutely does. The word interview is mentioned and he says, I've come to hate that word because of you. And he picks up the book. He's mad about the book.
Oh, so annoyed.
Helen says, don't blame me, blame Amsterdam. I don't give an Amsterdam. I thought that was a great line.
Yeah, he's got some fun sass to him that I think we'll probably need and be grateful for.
There's a really interesting moment too where he starts speaking telepathically with Guy, and he asks Guy, he says, it hurts to listen, doesn't it? It's because you feel like it's a crime. You're walking around stuffing your pockets with candy and it doesn't belong to you. You have to realize that the candy belongs to you. Mm-hmm. All the candy belongs to you. And first of all, like, on the one hand, you're like, oh, well, that's a great way to unlock his power. But you listen to that for a second and you're like, well, that's a dark ass thought.
Yeah,
all the candy does not belong to you. Does not belong to you. Actually,
you have access to it, but I don't think it's all yours.
How old are you, Burton? 39 or 380 to 4, depending upon how you gauge time.
Right.
I like that.
And I like another vampire that's kind of an adult, like 39's kind of an adult.
Yeah, he's grown.
Yeah.
He was grown before. I will say, I'm intrigued. My guess is we're not going to see Schwartzman a lot this season. This may be the only time that we see him, but he's out there in the universe. he does have some interesting backstory that's hinted at. My guess is that whoever he was associated with before would not be happy to know that he is aligned with the Talamasca in this way. And so whatever happens in this series or in the ongoing connected universe, my guess is we might get some payoff for some of that.
Oh yeah, I would think so.
So I'm down for that.
Yeah, I would definitely think so. Well, because like not the vampires don't want everyone to know that they exist. Like this book comes out and everybody's got a fucking beef with Louis, and you know, and so I'm glad that they're carrying kind of that into this. Obviously,
we mentioned earlier that guys, it feels like Guy has a lot of untapped potential. We see it here. He surprises Burton. Burton locks his head down so that he can't speak to him anymore, and then Guy gets inside anyway. He goes, "Hey, how did you do that?"
Yeah.
But then Burton turns it around on him, and he says, "Your mind is a two-way street. And if you can get into me, then I can get into you." And he does it. He puts him out on the balcony, or not on the balcony, on the ledge of the window, and like he's going to fall off the building, and then suggests that he does it. Now, he doesn't do it, but it is interesting that as powerful a telepath as Guy seems to be, Burton is that much stronger again, mentally anyway.
Right.
You know, he's had 3 centuries to practice,
well, I mean,
as he says.
And the vampires have their own gifts, you know, and he's been practicing with his for, 300 years. Guy's been playing with his for, 22, 23 maybe.
Yeah, right. And not even really, we find it. Like, he hasn't really worked on it. He's mostly
shoving it down.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Burton's assistant comes back in and has a cool line here as he freezes her and takes them out on the balcony. The whole line, though, if you put it together, she says, "The sun is finally down, the dawn of a new day," as she opens the curtains. And I thought that was so funny. But yeah, I bet if you were a friggin' hand servant for a vampire, you would start the day at dusk.
You're awake when the boss is awake. I would be good at that job. Exactly. I am a night person. If I could start my life at 4 p.m., oh, God bless. I would love it.
I bet it wouldn't take me as long to get started in the morning if I started my days at 4 p.m. That's an idea.
Look, not all of us are wired for this daylight shit.
I could move it up and start it at about, let's say, 3 o'clock right before the kids get home from school, and then I could do like 3 hours of family time. Now you got me rethinking my whole thing here.
Yeah.
I might black out my windows this week and see what goes.
There's not a window in my house that doesn't have a blackout curtain.
So before Guy and Helen leave, Burton tells him they're lying to you. Just a little bug in your ear. None of this is real. Who's lying? What are they lying about, though? We don't know, man. We don't know. This is where Helen offers him the out. She says, "It's a dangerous game. I can't blame you for walking away. Perhaps you should." And it is a little dangerous for him because that night he dreams of Burton, except it wasn't a dream. He wakes up, the chair is spinning. Burton was spinning in it in his dream. And there is a copy of Interview with the Vampire open to page 200 and something. I didn't get the number.
So hard to zoom in with this small screen.
Well, he mentions it later to Daniel too, but there's a name circled on this page. Ashley, Guy's mother is listed as a victim of Louis and Armand's in the 70s. So I say in the 70s, I don't know when, but there is a moment in the book, you see a little bit of the paragraph, and Daniel is addressing Louis and Armand and he's listing their victims. And this name is among them. So Guy goes to meet Daniel. He shows up for a book signing where we saw that lovely image of him from the 90s that I mentioned earlier. So Daniel writes in the book 20 minutes out back. And then he makes, and I'm going to just chalk this up to, I don't know, trying to play with Daniel, trying to be a cool guy. I don't know. But the next person in line is a woman after Guy, and he says, "Hello, sweetheart." And then he says, "Can you say sweetheart in a bookshop these days?"
What?
You're gonna lose your zaddy energy there, Eric. Don't do writers. Don't give Daniel lines like that. He can play with the 400 and 500-year-old vampires that look 20. Okay, he doesn't need to flirt obnoxiously with young ladies. Okay. So Guy's trying to ask Daniel about this all, and Daniel says, hey, I didn't write that page. They did. Who, the Talamasca? And Daniel goes, do you mean the Talamasca? You don't think they're watching us right now, Guy? Like, don't be stupid.
Yeah. We
It's-
watch
it's
and we are always here.
Yeah, right? He's like, did you read the card? They tell you what they do.
My God.
They are always here. Okay, so he airdrops an image of a crowd scene, and he zooms in, and then he says, was everyone wearing Lululemon when you were 9? It's an image of Guy's mother in a crowd where apparently she's wearing leggings. I didn't see her leggings, actually, but okay. This blows his mind. Mommy isn't dead.
She's
apparently
alive. Yeah. She wouldn't be wearing Lululemon in the 1980 whatever, because it did not fucking exist yet, even though we hated our bodies enough for that company to exist.
Oh, and then Daniel says, now get out of here before I do something I'll regret. I do love that he gives him kind of like the Michael J. Fox Teen Wolf growl, effectively. Like he lets his eyes flare a little bit.
Give me
He's
a
like, I could eat
keg
you
of
if I
beer.
wanted to. Okay, so we're zooming in on the image. Guy's blowing it up on his computer at home. We see a Union Jack in the background of the photo. So this is somewhere in Great Britain. And Mommy's got a Talamasca tattoo on her wrist. Interesting.
Mark of the Beast.
I like the logo, by the way. I was
I do
immediately
too.
like, I could get a big ass sharp T on my wrist, actually.
Let's wait
I
to
could
find
do
out if they're the baddies, Joel.
That's a good
Don't
fucking point.
Don't get a dark mark and then
Yeah, don't name your daughter Khaleesi until you see the whole series, okay?
Right. Oh, God.
So we get a little glimpse here to another mystery to hang over us. Helen is looking at a photo of twin girls. It's an old picture. My guess is, though, Helen's got a long lost sister. Who is Helen's sister? That's Helen, one of the twins, surely,
I think Helen
right?
is not. She's too old for it to be his mother.
Right.
But do we have some sort of familial link there? Is it?
Helen would probably be the right age to potentially be his grandmother. Barely, maybe, yeah.
Or maybe a
missing, or maybe an aunt.
Yeah, maybe
the twin is the direct
grandmother
line, and so she was trying to follow the family down or something. That's interesting. Anyway, my guess is that photo will come back, and I'm putting my money on Helen being one of those twin girls.
We got lots of Chekhov's guns this episode. Lots of things that were like, my God, you guys planted a lot of seeds out there. I wonder how many of those you're going to forget about by the second episode. Because
fair enough. Fair enough. Mayfair left some dangling participles for sure. All right, I like our end to this episode here. We get Guy showing up outside the building. Helen sort of gets a message from her little assistant that somebody's there. She goes to the window and sees him. Fledgling Talamasca agent Guy Anatoli reporting for duty, ma'am.
Give him his card.
Which really feels like a debut Bond mission kind of thing going on right here, doesn't it? Though, like it's like he doesn't have his license to kill yet. But maybe.
Yeah, no, he's the hot new recruit. He's like, and obviously there's a reason, and we're gonna find out if they're gonna tell a good story. We'll find out. If they don't tell a good story, we might not find out.
You know, the debut episode of Interview with the Vampire was transformational in so many ways. We'd never seen that relationship played out genuinely on screen in that way. The beauty of the 1914 New Orleans as it was displayed there was so gorgeous. The revelation that is Sam Reed and Jacob Anderson. The words that we had, heard and echoed through our head, so many of those quotes from episode 1 that you would just long to hear on screen and through an actor's voice for so long, and we got them. We don't have that in this episode, right?
No.
You can't hit those highs.
No.
But I gotta tell you, this is a solid ass episode of TV.
Hey, look, I thought it was a really fucking good time. And it's a really good setup for a fun spy adventure series. And I think I think we can have high expectations. We don't need to have unrealistic expectations, you know?
That's it. That is it. And y'all, I mean, genuinely, we've talked about it before in different videos. It seems like AMC is building themselves a portfolio. This is a piece to that puzzle. It ain't going to be what Interview is in many ways. I don't think it's as high art as Interview is, or Vampire
It's trying
Lestat
to
now.
be, you know. I don't think it's
Nope.
it's trying to be something very different from if Interview.
Yeah.
If our vampire series is a love story, like this is a spy story, this is an adventure story. So I mean, it's
Yes.
a different vibe entirely. It's a different vibe from Mayfair too. So it's a vibe I like, and I can really get behind, and it's the kind of show I'm like interested in. So I think even if it weren't Talamasca, even if they had just created something entirely different and it was this, I would be interested, if that makes sense.
Genuinely think in my mind, I was going to say, I don't give an Amsterdam for our title. It's a vibe I like is going to be the title, though. I think that's our vote on this episode, folks. I don't know about how you're feeling about it, but this is a vibe we like so far. We're down with this. We want more of it.
I'm gonna have more opinions.
Very excited.
Next episode, I'm sure, because I'm sure we only have 6, right? So
we only have 6. It's so few
it's
for
short.
this
we're
season.
Gonna propel
we
forward
hope.
pretty quick, I would imagine. So I'm sure we'll have.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a lot more opinions and be louder about them in our next episode.
And we will be back next week with that episode. As a matter of fact, as you're watching, if you're a patron, you're going to be watching the next episode while we're in New Orleans. We're going to be in New Orleans next weekend, Ashley.
Oh, Lord, it's going to be so much
crazy.
fun. Y'all, I can't wait to see those of you that are
times.
coming down.
I know. I'm really looking forward to meeting some of you. I'm excited to spend that time with you. Ashley and I, just a little behind the scenes, we're going to be recording the next episode before we go to New Orleans so that we can enjoy our weekend. We've got to give you guys an episode while we're down there about the Anne Rice celebration of life.
I mean, my God, we couldn't let you guys down that aren't there with us. That would be a terrible excuse.
Indeed. So we will be back soon to talk about episode 2 of Talamasca, The Secret Order. Until then, we have been the Articulate Coven, your unofficial podcast and fan community for the Immortal Universe, and we are your hosts. I'm Joel.
I'm Ashley.
And we are the Articulate Coven. Thank you for sharing this time with the Articulate Coven. Support the show as either a free or paid member at articulatecoven.com/join. You can also find us on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Find more from the Coven with our sister show, Flan Again, covering the works of Mike Flanagan.